Hello everyone. On my craft table today I am going to show you a tutorial for making this beautiful placemat with flower edges. So the yarn that I am using is a stranded cotton thread which comes in a ball like this, and the needle that I am using is a 2.5 mm crochet hook. So this thread is a little thicker, and the needle that I'm using is a smaller needle compared to the thread, because I want a thicker fabric, crochet fabric, so that's why I'm using a smaller hook. To begin, we will first start by making a magic ring. So this is how a magic ring is made. So you have to make a loop like this, shorten the length of the loop, and then take the working thread through the loop like this with your crochet hook. I'll show it to you once again. See, this is the tail thread. So wind your working thread on your fingers like this and cross it like an X. Slip it out of your fingers and you will get the loop there. So this loop, through this loop, pull the working thread like this and hold that loop with your hook. And this is how we begin. This is a magic ring, and this is how we begin this round. When you're ready, start making stitches now. So we'll begin by making 3 chains. So this 3 chain is considered as 1 DC. And we'll continue making DC, that is double crochet, inside the loop or the ring that we just made. I've made 2 DCs. So I am having a little problem with the stranded cotton because my hook size is smaller, but as I go I'll get used to using this thread, and it will be a little more easier. See, this is the way I hold my thread for easy flow of thread. This is the 3rd DC. And this is 4. So like this we have to make a total of 12 DC inside the magic ring that we made. And see this, when you make the DC, you have to just pull the thread to the length that you need like this, and then make the DCs. Otherwise your DC stitches will be short and they won't look as neat. Just give it a little pull to make it to a certain length, and maintain that length throughout. Now I have made 12 DCs, that is 3 chains plus 11 DC, that makes it 12 DC. Now to close this ring, take out the hook from where you're working and hold the tail thread and pull it like this. When you pull it, the loop will shorten and a nice circle will form like this. Now it's time to join this round. To join, we will join it or make a slip stitch into the 3rd chain that we did in the beginning of this round. So look for the 3rd chain, insert your hook under both strands of the 3rd chain there, and make a slip stitch. Yeah, so we have completed row 1 now. There are 12 DCs in this round. So because we made a magic ring, we are able to close it and have no gaps in the beginning circle. Row 2 begins by making 3 chains again, which is equivalent to 1 DC. We made 3 chains. I made 3 chain in the first joining stitch there, and I am going to make another DC in the same stitch. So that means I am making 2 DCs in one stitch. So this is an increase. So when you make a extra DC in the same stitch, it is an increase. So I have increased. See, I have made first 3 chains, and then I made one more DC on the same stitch. Then make 1 chain, and into the next stitch I am making a DC, that is double crochet, and one more double crochet into the same stitch. So in this second round there will be 2 DCs on each stitch, and also there is 1 chain between these 2 stitches. So by adding a chain in between the stitches, we are actually making them into sections. So it's easy when you are increasing the rounds, which you will understand as we go by making more rounds in this pattern. Okay, reminding you once again, it is 2 DCs in each stitch followed by a chain. Okay, I've almost come to the end of the round now. Let's count how many we have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So one more stitch is there, and if I make 2 stitches there, it will be 24. So 12 times 2 is 24. So our stitch count is correct now. That's 21. And 22. So after making the 2 DCs in one stitch, don't forget the last chain. So make 1 chain, and joining will again be on the 3rd chain. See, there are 3 chains that we made in the beginning. So in the 3rd chain, see, this is the place where we will have to join it with a slip stitch. Okay, insert your needle under both loops like this. See, like this, under both loops of the chain. Bring your thread out. See, this is how a slip stitch is made. Bring your thread out through both the loops in one go. So we have joined this round with a slip stitch. So round 2 is done. Round 3 also begins with chain 3. And again we are going to make another DC. See, on top of the joining stitch, that is the chain 3 stitch, I made again chain 3. So in the same stitch make another DC. So this is the increase. So in every section we are going to be making one increase. So 2 DCs on one stitch, and then in this section there is one more DC. So you remember we made 2 DCs in each section in the previous round. So one more stitch is here. On this DC make a DC stitch. So that means there were 2 stitches in the previous section. So in this round there are 3 stitches because we increased it by 1 stitch. Again chain 1, and in the next section there are 2 stitches. On the first stitch you will make an increase, that is you will be making 2 DCs on the same stitch. And 1 DC in the next stitch. See, on 2 I have made 3 now. chain 1, continue in the same pattern all around this to complete this row. 1 and 2 DC on the first stitch in this section and another 1 DC on the next DC. Next it will be a chain, 1 chain, and continue till you reach the end of this round, where we will be joining with a slip stitch like we did in the previous rows. At the end here, so don't forget to make the single chain that before joining it, and join with the slip stitch in the third chain of the beginning chain 3. Okay, the rest of the pattern is also the same like this, with an increase in the beginning of each section. So in each row there will be a in each section there will be an increase in the first stitch. So here it will be 2 DC, then you will have 2 more DCs in that section, so 1 DC on each one of them. One DC and another DC. See, there will be 3 stitches in the previous round, and in the next round, in this round there are 4 stitches. Okay, 2 on one of them and 1, followed by a chain. So one section is done. In the next section again, in the first stitch there will be 2 and then 1 and 1 and a chain. So by now you must be familiar with the this stitching pattern. It goes on like this till row 9. So continue in the same pattern with increases in each row for 9 rows. So I've completed 9 rows now. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 rows. In between there are, in between each section there are 1 chain space. So there's 9 in each group and 1 chain space all around. So you'll have a total of 108 DC and 12 chain 1 spaces. So with this we are not going to be increasing anymore. In the next round again begin with 3 chain, and in this round there are no increases, but there's going to be 1 DC on each of the DCs. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One section has 9 DCs, and now we are come to the chain 1 space. So there don't make a chain 1, instead make 1 DC into that space. We have completed one section. The next section also is the same, 1 DC on each of the stitches, and when you reach the chain 1 space, you will make 1 DC into that space also. See, this is how it will look now. See, started with a single chain, and when you count, you will have 9 DCs plus 1 DC in the chain 1 space. So we'll be working all around in the same manner, no increases, and also we are closing the chain 1 space with 1 DC. Make sure that you have the correct number of stitches, and also you have stitched into the chain 1 space also, and I have come to the end of it, and I'm going to finish this round. See, the stitch count here is very important, because the next round where we are going to, in future rounds where we are going to make the flower pattern, we need the stitch count to be divisible by 4. So that's why it's important that you keep your stitch count correct, and it should be it should not be less or more, otherwise your flower pattern will not work out correctly. Okay, the last DC in the chain space there, and now it's time to join this round with a slip stitch in the starting 3 chains. Okay, so that completes it. There is no increase in the round, like I told you, just the same number of stitches in this round also. The next round is what we call as a front post single crochet stitch. So to begin, I've made 1 chain. See, and take your needle like this. See, after making 1 chain, see, take your needle and insert it from the back to the front, and go around the first DC there, and go to the back of the take your needle to the back of your work, grab your working thread like this. Okay, bring it out, and when you do that, you will have 2 loops on your hook, and complete the single crochet stitch like this. So those who already know front post crochet stitch, they will be aware, but I am showing it slowly for those who are doing it for the first time. Your needle comes from the back to the front and goes from front to the back like this, and then you will catch on the working thread, pull it through like this. There are 2 loops on the hook. Pull your working thread to both the loops. This is called as a front post single crochet stitch. So initially take your time and do it slowly until you get the knack of it, and then it will move faster. This is a front post single crochet stitch. I am showing it slowly because I want my fellow crocheters who haven't done the front post stitch to take note of it and work it nice and neat. See, sometimes it can slip like this, so which is very normal. Slipped again. Yeah, got it this time. Okay. So we are making this front post single crochet stitch to get a kind of a ridge like this, which will give a nice edging to our placemat. You will understand it when we finish the stitch and when we make the edging. See, this is how it should look now. As you proceed, you will see how the raised edging is formed around the placemat. So we'll continue to work the front post single crochet stitch all around in all the stitches. So you should be having 120 stitches when you finish this round. Okay, see, this is how the edging will look. So before you finish your work, just make sure that you have stitched into all of them, and then we'll proceed to join it now. So to join this, again we'll join it with a slip stitch in the first chain that we made, or you can join it in the first stitch also. So there's one more front post single crochet to finish, and when you're done, we are ready to close this round by making a slip stitch in the chain one that you first made when we started this row. Okay, so with this we complete the front post stitches. Okay, place your work down and look how such a beautiful ridge has formed around the placemat.